Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival. It is Monday the 5th, still 5th of October. Yeah, 2020, year of insanity. I like that one, year of insanity. I'm going to keep saying that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about firearm preps. Firearm preps. I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to show you any of my firearms. I'm not going to show you any of my ammunition. So if you've come here hoping to see things like that, this is not that kind of video. I do not believe on putting my firearms on YouTube. I really don't. I think that is a bad idea. I really believe that is a bad idea. And there are several factors to that, but, we're not getting into that either. Firearm preps. Yeah, you definitely need, there's definitely a place for firearms, especially, rifles, hunting implements, rifles, shotguns, things like that. Sidearms, obviously, for day-to-day use. I have not left my house without one in a long time. I will tell you a couple of the things I have. I carry a Glock 19. That is my go-to. I have more than one of them. I do. My wife carries a Glock 26, both chambered in 9mm. The magazines for mine are interchangeable with the magazines for hers, so I can take a magazine out of my Glock 19, I can throw it in her Glock 26. It'll work just fine. It'll stick out the bottom a little bit. It really will. Glock 9mm, you can find magazines, I believe 33 rounds. You can find 100-round drums for these things. You could throw a 100-round drum of Glock that, you could do it. Should you? No. That would be heavy and kind of ridiculous. For a long time, I carried one of the 26, I think it's a 26 round magazines in my side pocket, but I switched back to just the standard 15 rounders. If you've ever taken any kind of safety classes or firearm training, or even watched a channel I recommend for that, it's kind of vulgar, keep that in mind, James Yeager. He has a lot of good information. They run a training school for firearms, I believe out of Camden, Tennessee, something I've always wanted to attend. Price is a little up there for me, but yeah, maybe one day, maybe. I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't. Training is good to have. I've had training. Like I've said, I've known I have friends that were police officers. I have family that were military. I've had training. I'll leave it at that. I do own AR platform rifles. I used to have a 30-06 Ruger American. It came with the Vortex scope. It was like a 4x zoom scope. It was really nice. Went to the pawn shop. I also had a Mossberg 590 tactical 12 gauge. Went to the pawn shop also. I still have a couple of, I have my grandfather's old single shot 12 that, in a pinch I could go out and take some bird with it. I have my father's Marlin 22 long rifle. It's pretty old, really is. Still works just fine. I have a couple other things, but no need to mention that. 380s lurking around here and there. But yeah. Firearms, you definitely should have them. I will never say that you shouldn't have them. Do you need 10,000 rounds of ammunition? See, I said this in the last video, that you don't need 10,000 rounds of ammunition. And I firmly believe that. Unless you have 10 people in your house, 1,000 rounds each, and you plan on going to battle. If you're planning on a battle, then sure. Having 10,000 rounds of ammunition for long-term storage, if you're planning for a long-term SHTF scenario, grid down. I'm talking if you've read books, Franklin Horton books, things like this. Yeah, store a bunch of ammunition if that's what you think is going to happen. I don't believe we're going to have grid down for that long. I really don't. I don't, because even in EMP, they're going to restore parts of it's not going to affect the entire grid. They would have to fire multiple EMPs. A solar gamma ray burst could create this kind of a problem, but it would have to be localized, and it's not going to take out the whole world. It would only take out the side the sun is facing at that time, if my understanding is correct. Now, I could be wrong on that, because I am definitely not, one of the science guys that pay attention to that kind of thing. I'm not. Yeah, there is a place for defense. I would never tell you not to defend yourself. Never, ever, ever. My friends on the other side of the world that have had a lot of their rights removed and they are no longer able to legally have defensive purpose, defensive tools. I will call them defensive tools. That is a shame. That is a shame. I don't agree with that at all. Yeah, I don't agree with that. If there was anything I could do, I would, but I don't agree with that. United States has been fighting for the rights for firearms since the day the Second Amendment was written. I mean, yeah, it was one of the reasons that when the Revolutionary War happened was one of the reasons, because they were trying to disarm the settlers. I mean, I've read this in history books. I don't know how accurate it is. I wasn't there. You were not there, so you don't know how accurate it is either. History is written by the victors. There is a reason that saying is a saying. There is a very good reason that saying is a saying, because history is not always truthful. It really isn't. The history books are always one-sided. They're always one-sided. So, I mean, even the World War II, there's two sides to that story. There's the German side, there's the everyone else side, the Nazi side, and the Alliance side. Those are two different versions of history if you read them. They really are. So yeah, firearms, they have their place. They really do. Different types of calibers have their place. I read the other day that somebody said a .22 long rifle is the most useless caliber to stockpile. You shouldn't even bother. That's inaccurate in my opinion. .22 is, especially where I live, .22 is an essential round to have. .22 long rifle, definitely, because small game, squirrels, rabbits, birds. If you have good aim, a rabbit will hold still for you. It really will. A squirrel will hold still for you for a short period of time if you are, paying close enough attention to it. Yeah, birds will hold still for you. They will perch on a nest, and I have taken birds with air rifles, and I do have several air rifles that use the CO2 cartridges. I actually have an air pistol that belonged to my father that he used to deter, I think it was raccoons out of, anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, I mean, there are so many applications. They're tools. They are tools. I was actually watching, this has been a year or so ago, I watched the Fear the Walking Dead. I used to watch TV. It's been a while. And I got to the third season, and in the third season there's a part where there's this prepper there, and he's a bad guy, and he's obviously done wrong to the locals besides the point. The guy's a prepper, and they gave preppers a bad name, as they usually do when that kind of thing, and one of the things I remember very distinctly is one of the main characters of the show said, and I'm going to try to quote this, but it's not going to be word for word, but he did say to this guy in the show that you're one of those people who taught your children that guns are tools, aren't you, or something along those lines. And that struck a nerve to me, and it was the last time I watched that show. I agree. Weapons are tools. Weapons, they are tools. Any kind of weapon is a tool. A knife is a tool. A firearm is a tool. A sword is a tool. It is a tool to be used for a certain application. Swords have applications too. Swords can be used to defend yourself. If you're proficient with a sword, I have seen tests of people with knives taking down people with firearms. These are, mock-up tests where how fast can the guy draw versus how fast can the other guy run at him from across a large room with a knife. The average, there's a reason people train for firearms. There's a reason you train with your pistol at 15 yards maximum, because the maximum usually any gunfight happens is 15 yards. The maximum length of any gunfight is usually 5 to 6 seconds. The maximum rounds fired is variable depending, but you usually never change magazines in a firefight. James Yeager in his training will teach you always carry a spare magazine, but it's not for extra ammunition. It's in case you have to clear a jam from your gun. Yeah, in case you need to clear a jam. So I'm obviously going to be setting this video differently because I keep saying the G word, and YouTube's policies are ridiculous on that particular thing. But they have their place. But I still stand by, there's only certain instances where you would need 10,000 rounds. If you live out in the country, way out in the country, and you live by yourself or you live with just your immediate family, do you intend to have a large group? Do you intend to need to defend that place? And who are you defending it from? If you are defending it from government, 10,000 rounds are not going to help you. Your AR platform rifle was designed in 1950 something. 1950. Do you realize how out of date your firearms are compared to modern technology and what the government has? Your 10,000 rounds are not going to stop the government. They're not. You need 10,000 rounds and 10,000 people and 10,000 bunkers. I mean, it's not. Your only real hope is the hope that the United States military is on your side. Yeah, but you know, we will talk about what they do to those people in a different video. And there's a lot of military people that I have talked to that can attest to what they do to those people. Yeah, it's not good. Anyway, I'm going to keep this video rather short. I just thought I would clarify my 10,000 rounds, you know, statement from my last video, because I had a couple of questions on it, and you know, nothing rude or anything, just, you know, basically why. And I always say to question everything. So if you're not questioning what I say, then I'm going to question why you're not questioning me. So you should be questioning me, questioning you when you're questioning me while I'm talking about you questioning me. Alright, that's been enough from Grim. I hope you like, subscribe. Don't forget, hit the little bell icon if you have faith in YouTube. I don't. But hey, I'm doing experiments in this room right now. I have emergency lighting experiments, and I've been filming it. I'm thinking it might take a couple of days to complete because it's more efficient than I really thought it was going to be. So, yeah, it's running over there. I'm not showing you. You'll have to stay tuned for that video. It'll be up in a couple of days. A couple of days also, we'll have the canning video up. The canning was complete and was a success, and was, yeah, definitely. This was a good idea. It's a good recipe. And I've actually convinced her. I've convinced her she's going to do the voiceover for me. My video just cut out. So anyway, I convinced her she was going to do the voiceover for me. She is. So I'm going to set her up in front of my computer and edit the video all out and make sure everything's, you know, in order. And you're going to see the dog, his nose is constantly by the counter when somebody's trying to make videos of cooking or cooking in general. It's just, yeah, that's the nosiest dog I've ever seen. The dog likes eating peppers. You'll see it in the video. Anyway, this has been James for Grim Survival. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. See you next time.